My name is Nancy Garcia. My son is Joseph Garcia. He has a diagnosis of spastic cerebral palsy and seizure disorder, and he is 35 years old, so we have had this journey quite a while. It started while I was pregnant with twins, and at 6.5 months, I went to the doctor where I was supposed to get ready for bed rest and found out that the other twin had died. So we had to deliver at 28 weeks. He was in the hospital from August 3rd till October 18th, which was his actual due date. Those months in the NICU were rough. That's where he had his brain bleeds and he caught meningitis. He only weighed 1.5 pounds at birth. So by the time we got him home at a whopping 4 pounds, we were very thrilled. But his true diagnosis didn't come until he was a year old. He wasn't developing as he should. But we didn't know any better. This was our first child. And the doctors kept saying, give it time, until a family member who's a nurse said, have him checked out. And that's when we went to United Cerebral Palsy and we got the diagnosis. And then it was time for therapy. And it had been therapy up until he was 21. Looking back at pictures that we have now, I'm like, how could I not see? You see the tightness in the legs, you see the tightness in the arms. So that gives you a hindsight of, it was there all along, but as parents, we didn't see it. How this journey would have to make you tough. How you have to fight for your child. Before he was born, I was not a fighter. I was not, if you told me no, okay. But for him, you had to fight. I said, no, I need these services. No, we need to. No, I don't like this doctor. I want another doctor. I want a second opinion. So you had to become not aggressive, but assertive, because this is for your child. And I never thought I could get to that point now. And even now at his age, like, no, he's still my son and this is how we're gonna do it. He got COVID last year in October and they did not want to let me into the hospital. And I'm saying, he doesn't have movements for to press the emergency button for a nurse. And I kept saying, I need to be there. And they said no. And I called an attorney and said, I want him discharged. I would take responsibility for his health at home. So it's that kind of assertiveness that I never thought I would get, but I tell parents now, no, this is going to be a battle for a long time. Honest to God, I wouldn't change anything. Not that back then I would wish to go through this again, if that makes sense. But as I mentioned before, he went to United Cerebral Palsy. Before that, I was a social worker by profession. So I stopped working to care for him. Then UCP had an opening for a social worker. And I got hired on, and I've worked with many parents since then. So having gone through what I went through has also helped me help other parents to navigate that. And not that I would want to go through this again, but I wouldn't change anything of what I've learned right now. It's a tough journey. It's hard on marriages. Fortunately, I had a good husband who was really a helpmate up until he passed 3 years ago. So now I am Joey's sole caretaker. But it's something that you have to fight for, understand that your child's important. But if they have siblings, also remember that the siblings also matter, that you cannot choose one over the other. So there's a lot of talking it out and sharing, and faith. That's the other thing I have, is that to help depend on that. Because that's my child, and to see how he's been able to do things. What would he be like if he did not have this disability? Yeah, I may dream that he could have done different things, but he's also as resilient. He's learned how to cope, and it may not make sense to other people, but it makes sense that I don't think I would trade this, because now my daughter also learned from him, because she participated in a sibling support group while she was growing up. She's a physical therapist now. I don't know what our journey would have looked like had we not had these experiences. I think having now my baby granddaughter and other young children who look at Joey and don't see him as any different. They see his chair. My granddaughter calls him Unky, and she's always around him and is not afraid. And they've learned how to be sensitive to others as well with special needs. So that's why I think I would not change it at all.